I got this round circular board from Target. It was $3 and it is whitewashed on one side and stained on the other. And I'm going to be using the whitewashed side. And I'm just measuring from top to bottom to just find the center of the circle. I'm just going to make a small mark with my pen. And then just taking some blue painter's tape, I'm going to use this to help keep my design straight. I have these stickers. I got the first pack here from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use the O and the H and line it up right under the blue painter's tape. And then I got these other stickers from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just using them for the font style. They are two different fonts. And again, I'm going to just lay the blue painter's tape down, and this just helps keep everything straight. I'm going to move my O down just a little bit. And you may just have to mess around with the placement after you have everything laid down and have an idea of where it's going to fall. So at the top here, I just moved my O and H over just a tad. And once I had everything placed where I wanted it, I removed the painter's tape. I'm then going to take a foam brush and some General Finishes Antique Walnut Gel Stain, and I'm going to cover the entire front or top of the board. And once I have good coverage, I'm going to take my paper towel and just lightly wipe on top of that. I have a pair of tweezers, and I'm just going to lift up the stickers I placed down. And most of them lifted pretty easily. And so the white underneath is what is going to peek through where the letters were placed. Now this is just another option if you don't have a stencil, or sometimes doing the individual letter stencils can be a little difficult. So I had a little bleeding on my O and my H. So I just took some Q-tips and I wet the tip of them, and I'm just going around the inside, and most of it came up pretty easily. Once everything was dry, I then took my Wise Owl 1 Hour Enamel Clear and I gave it a top coat. I allowed that to fully dry before moving to the next step. I laid my painter's tape back down to make the line to separate the top from the bottom. I have this small brick stencil I got from Studio R12. You can also just use a tile stencil. It has just the cleaner edges. I'm going to lay it on an angle here, and using some painter's tape, I'm just going to hold the stencil down. Using some Wise Owl Snow Owl and a foam dabber, I'm going to lightly dab on the area I laid the stencil. Now remember, a small amount of paint, and if you have to dab over it a couple times, this will help prevent any bleeding. I allowed that to dry enough where I can lay the stencil down without smudging the stencil. And this time I'm going to lay the bricks at a horizontal angle rather than a vertical angle. And I'm going to fill in the rest of the board. Now where the horizontal and vertical bricks hit each other, I'm going to take my Q-tip, and because I used the 1 Hour Enamel prior to stenciling, I was able to just make these lines in the stencil again by just using my wet Q-tip, and I just added a little stain to areas that looked a little more faded. I then took this art brush and I just, in a dabbing motion, went on top of the brick to just give it a little more coverage. I removed my blue painter's tape, and this is where we're at so far. I took this wired natural color ribbon with a floral pattern that I had, and I'm going to make a bow. And I just do a very basic bow with the 2 loops, and then I have the tails that hang, and I'm just going to cut that at an angle. And you can make the tails as long or as short as you'd like. and this will sit at the top of the circle. I have some artificial greenery that I got from Michael's, and I'm just going to trim that at a shorter length. And I'm going to add that to the back side of the bow. I'm going to hold it in place by just using some hot glue on the stem here, and I'm going to just tuck it right under the back side of the bow. As a top coat, I'm going to use the Wise Owl 1 Hour Enamel Clear. So I'm going to give the entire front of the board a top coat. I'm going to allow that to fully dry, and once it's dry, I'm going to add the bow with the artificial greenery to the top here. I'm holding that in place with some of the hot glue, and you can also use the E6000 if you need to. And I'm just going to re-add a new jute hanger. It already had the holes pre-drilled into the board, and I'm just adding the jute and tying it. And there we go. Now we just have this very easy Oh Hello board that you can hang in an entryway. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Paint products, tissue paper, stencils, and transfers can all be found on our webpage at chalkitupfancy.com. Have a great day.